I think that we are able to start now. So without further ado, I'm now leaving the floor to our panelists for their presentation. I will see you in a bit, and in the meantime, enjoy the presentation.
Well, thank you very much, Alessandra, for this most kind introduction and for this occasion. It's a pleasure to be here tonight and to discuss about luxury markets and luxury experiences with Paolo Promola, who has a great experience in this business sector and others as well that were mentioned before, and is now executive chairman of PEC. That if you are born in Milan or if you ever visited Milan, it's really an household name, and it means quality and delight. PEC is a very important brand in the history of our city, and so I invite you, if you're not well aware of it, just to go and visit their website, where they have a magnificent history section that will explain you the story of this marvelous shop and of this great brand. I'm very grateful to Dr. Promola for joining us, because this is a webinar on and conceived for the launch of a new course of study of a new MA by IULM University, whose subject is Fashion Communication and Luxury Strategy. This is a new product that our university is just devising. The first cohort of students will start in the fall, in September. We're very excited about it. Just let me tell you a couple of things. The first thing is, of course, a 2-year degree. The second year will be focused either on luxury strategies or on global trends, which is more focused on fashion. The first year instead is in common, so the same path for students interested in one or the other subject. But the other thing I really want to tell you and to stress is that this curriculum has been created thinking about the flexibility and the agility that executive in the realm of communication of fashion or luxury needs today. So it's a curriculum that brings together a solid theoretical body of knowledge that will help you in navigating different environments and different culture, together with some real-world experience, case, histories, and, a great field project, a sort of, internship 2.0 that will be basically the end of such a progress, such a path in the second year. So our ambition is to bring together the sort of theoretical, historical, broader knowledge which is needed to be able to be flexible and agile in the day-by-day conduct of business, with real-world experience and first-hand knowledge of the markets we're talking about. Of course, one great vantage point of this course is the fact that IULM is based in Milan, and Milan is a European capital of fashion, clearly, but also as a European capital of luxury. So I think, being in Milan and studying these matters in Milan will be a great part of your experience. Speaking of which, I'd like to ask, first of all, to Dr. Promola, how is luxury changing? What is luxury today for consumers? What are the trends that he sees developing in the coming years, thinking not only of goods, but also of experiences that consumers enjoy?
Thank you, Alberto, and thank you even to Alessandra. Thank you for the introduction, and thanks a lot to the people that choose to be attracted by this webinar, and I hope to succeed to give a flavor of this very, large market today, was very increasing in the area, and has a long history with many social, economic, political even insights within its development. First of all, why fashion and luxury? I mean, I appreciated this kind of name of the course, because fashion and luxury are two different kind of markets somehow, but they are very overlapping. They are intersecting somehow, because fashion is, is high elegance, is anyway to be refined somehow in your, especially if you are speaking about jewelry, if you are speaking about apparel, if you are speaking about all the accessories, the bags and so on. And luxury, is a more complex kind of concept, because Professor Mingardi is one of the best, I believe, historian, and even having the culture to know the origin of these names, but it has a millennial evolution. I mean, we are starting from so much time. I mean, if you think to Egypt, I mean, to the time in which people were unfortunately dead, and they were having the culture to put all the jewelry of these people within their flight to the moon, or to some of other places with respect to the earth. And but coming back to the question, the evolution was very, very, very impressive of this market. If you think about that, today we are speaking about a market of more or less 340, 350 billion of US dollars, with growth rates in the sales of around 20%. I mean, there are places in which it's 19, 23, but the average is 20. And even a good compound average growth rate, even in the net profit or in the profit margins in the last 20 years. Then we will give a look even to the future. I mean, within this kind of market, which is heavily placed in Europe, because I don't know how much of you has confidence with the financial index, but for instance, if you give a look to the Standard & Poor Global Luxury Index, which is the best index in the financial market that you can give a look, you have in this index 79 stocks. Of these 79 stocks, Europe counts for more 52% in terms of value. So it's a lot. And there are 8 Italian companies within that. And we're speaking about 18 different product sectors within this index. So you can immediately understand how much luxury is transversal, because we are speaking about 2 different 18 product sectors. And this means to have a wider look over the potential that you can have working in this kind of a sector. After Europe, there is North America, a small contribution till now from Asia Pacific, but think about that if you look to the growth rate in the future, Asia Pacific will be increasing anyway. I mean, it will be one, even in this kind of sector, one of the region growing. Apart from that, Europe for sure is waiting a lot, 24 stocks, for instance. And within that, we have many Italian. This framework, Milan in this framework is one of the best places in Europe to come and to feel the luxury, thinking about that the luxury today means not only products, but to give to the people the possibility to have an experience. I mean, among the luxury, you can have two components to judge luxury. No, you can have the functional component. It could be, what is luxury? High price, is excellent quality. What is rarity? I don't know. It could be aesthetics. It could be a symbol, a status symbol. There are periods in the history in which there was even a period in which luxury was considered not a good thing to behave, because it was the contrary of a good behaving in the social or in the social framework. But today is coming to be something more emotional. I mean, it counts tradition, it counts to be in an elite, it counts to be to live different experience. I mean, I always like to remember a famous phrasing of Coco Chanel. Coco Chanel, if you, I believe you know, was one of the great stylists in the world. And they were the engine and the idea of the Chanel group, one of the best group and the large group in the world. And she was saying that luxury, it's a need, a necessity that begins when the necessity ends. And you can find in that everything a bit, because I mean, luxury is something giving you a joy, giving you something that you can appreciate for yourself or for the others. And I'm saying that because this is perfectly in line with the evolution of the world in the future. The evolution of the world even today is more linked not to the product simply, but to the communication, to the marketing, to what does it mean for you having that product and how you feel. So this is a market, a sector perfectly in line. I mean, luxury has a lot to do with your emotion. And Milan, why? Because Milan is the seat of many luxury brands, and many of the also of the sector working in the luxury. I'm working now for PEC. PEC is a high-end gourmet product and services company. But I have to tell you that I mean, to have a good product for PEC is plain vanilla. I mean, is the base. What is more important is to make people understanding what does it mean, that product, what there is behind that product, what can they have with that product, and of course, what they can give even to their friends or their parents or whatever, organizing something with the PEC products. Milan is the right place because you can feel, you can live this kind of environment. And this is very important. I mean, of course, you can study whatever you want in whichever place. But if you leave a place that expressing all all the characteristics suitable to understand what you are studying, that's better for sure. That's better for sure. And I give you another example on that. Then maybe I stop because I do not want to lose time for other kind of comments or question or topics. At the beginning, PEC is a company that was born in 1883. And what was luxury in the previous year or in the first part was something different, because at the beginning was to have a kind of product that you cannot find in other places. Then there was the period of the art and culture, because art and culture, it's even something having a very good link with the luxury sector, especially art. Today, art is one of the most developing industries somehow in the world, is small, but is very interesting. And at the time, there was Gabriele D'Annunzio, that maybe some of you knows was something more with respect to a writer. And he was organizing in PEC, he was loving PEC, and he organized in PEC a club. And they called the club as Bathing Club. And the point of the club was to find themselves means artists, intellectuals, actors, all people around the culture, of the millennia of those years. And they was organizing these dinners. Maybe they were loving even drinking wine or other things, but that's for sure. But one of the most interesting facts is that you can find even today some brief writings of this Bathing Club report in PEC, in which they discussed of the culture of the art, and this was something unique. So was elite and was somehow a luxury example, together a company giving luxury service and product. I have a lot to tell you, and I hope not to be too much dispersive, so I stop.
I think that was perfect for many reasons. First of all, well, it's difficult to be optimistic about Europe sometimes economically, but when you look at this market instead, you see a strong European leadership, and the reason for that, you explain it beautifully later on, which is luxury is so profoundly intertwined with history and a perception of the sort of lifestyle that comes out of a rich historical experience. That, of course, the rest of the world will develop. There will be a tremendous demand growing from different regions in the world, in as much as they develop, and we hope they continue developing to continue to develop fast in the next few years. But on these, there are good reasons for European leadership. And also, luxury is profoundly intertwined with your own identity, with how you're fashioning the way in which you want to appear to others. Now, I'm very curious about this, and I hope you may elaborate a little bit on that. For people that do not live in Milan or never visited Milan before, PEC is, some sort of the gastronomic equivalent of the Milan Cathedral. It's a place that tourists want to visit. Not differently, for example, that Fordham and Mason in London. People go to London and they want to buy Fordham and Mason tea and bring that back home to their girlfriends or boyfriends, wives, husbands, and so on and so forth. How do you manage to communicate PEC and these values and this history to people that are foreign to this history, to people that are alien, to tourists visiting Milan? How do you work with them so that they may appreciate, the sort of story about Gabriele D'Annunzio that you just told us?
First of all, you have to be very open to people, in the sense that even in the luxury sector, there is a increasing aspect and part of digital, mobile, social, but is the typical example back in which you have to combine the offline with the online, but you have to combine. People love to come offline to see the store. That doesn't mean that they are not buying online. They are buying online. I believe that someone can remember that, the online, one of the best driver of the online is to try to attract people on the offline. In the fashion business, for my experience, 16% of 20% of the growth that you can have is driven by the online, on the offline kind of buys. I mean, the online buys, the offline buys grow by 16-20% if you have the online. But apart from that, the offline is something that I mean, is essential because it's giving you the sensitivity. You can touch with your fingers what does it mean. And one of the best driver for tech to communicate is to, first of all, to be present on all the tourist kind of guides, but not simply to say, come to PEC, but to make a visit to PEC, to visit the laboratories, to visit the kitchen, not to visit simply the store and the counter. I mean, you have two different kind of experiences. If you look to the laboratories, you look how those kind of products are cooked, are prepared, and you can understand the quality of the ingredients. You can understand the attention of the people making those products. If you go even looking at the store, you can appreciate what? You can appreciate the fact that you have expert driving you in your buys, not invading your, I mean, your will, your possibility to choose, but to drive you somehow, to explain you what there is behind. I mean, most of our products are coming from small suppliers, if they are not prepared directly by PEC. And it's very, very, I mean, impressive to say that one of the best smoked meat product, which is called in Italy bresaola, is made from the piece of raw meat in the laboratories close to the Duomo of Milan. But this is something you can say this could be a show. Yes, but this is a show useful to understand what does it mean to have a luxus. I mean, to have, the possibility to have something unique, to have something you can appreciate because you do not find everywhere. But you have to understand even that PEC is making this kind of luxury business with very somehow simple and basic products. We are not speaking about a jewel, very, very difficult to be produced somehow because there is, it's very much complicated. There is an intrinsic value of the gold, for instance, very high. Here you are producing very basic products, but with the very high-end quality. So the reason why is to make what is very well known today as a trend. So to make the luxury democratic, as people love to say. So to enlarge the people who can appreciate the luxury products. And this is why even the market is very growing. And this is why even the market is in the luxury is even well placed by very large groups. PEC is a small company, but there are very large groups in fashion, for instance, or luxury fashion, like it could be Prada. And Prada has its seat in Milan because Prada is a Milanese and is a, I believe that in the World Luxury Index or anyway market is the 18th company listed, Prada. Then you have Moncler, for instance. Moncler is in Milan too. So, luxury doesn't mean that only very few people can afford it. It's something larger. And the challenge for the future is to maintain the exclusivity of this kind of market, making it available at the right kind of level positioning for more people, because that's why even Asia is a very interesting market for the European countries, because the Asian clients are anyway growing. In Milan, if I'm not wrong, in the last, leaving aside the COVID period, but in the last 6-7 years after the Expo, we had an increase of tourists of 30%, and at least more, 1/3 of that was luxury, around the middle, because it's even a city somehow, I mean, very well positioned in that level. I mean, it's even expensive somehow with respect to other cities in Milan, in Italy. So coming back, I believe that it's very important to be able to communicate, but with different kind of instruments, and combine in the right way the offline with the online, and to be able to use the CRM, the customer relationship management, but to transfer your passion, to transfer what you are doing. And this, I mean, somehow is very easy. You have to communicate what you did, what you think, what you believe is the intrinsic added value of your product or service. On the other hand, is always and is more and more important to communicate in the right way, even because, as you know, the media somehow are mixing all the things. So you have to be distinctive, and to be, able to make you different from the others, you have to find your way, and your way is to transfer what you are, and not to mix your product with every other kind of positioning existing in the market.
I have a question for the investor and the economist. I suppose that most people listening to us now, they will know Prada, they will know Armani, they will know Valentino, and so on and so forth. But what do you think is the potential in Italian small and middle-sized brands? Brands that are known to Italians in Italy typically, but not so much, perhaps, beyond the boundaries. Are these brands really?
I lost you. Sorry. Hello? Hello?
Hello, everyone. We're having a little bit of trouble with the
connection.
Can you
hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Hello, Professor. We lost you for a second, so could you please share again?
You're frozen. You were frozen for a second.
Yeah. You were saying which is the possibility for the small and medium industries in Italy and companies to grow. First of all, I repeat, it's a wide market. I had the pleasure to work for two companies very different, one from the other, but under the same hat. And one was Valentino and the other was Hugo Boss. At the time, Hugo Boss was a very good, very profitable fashion company. Now is considered luxury, because in the evolution of the design of Hugo Boss, they were succeeding to become someone offering a unique product in some areas. Valentino was starting from the beginning, to be a luxury. But when I met the first design, the first designer I met was Mr. Valentino. But the last one was the one that you read on the newspaper that was resigning, Mr. Piccioli. There is a lot of difference between the two, independently on what do you believe is clever or not, is more smart or whatever. The first one was a creative of the product. I mean, was a man that was creating every time he was working. The second is a creator, but is more oriented to understand how can be developed in the communication that product. Because now you ask the designer to make something that you can be easily shown in photos, in videos, and the video has to be attractive, more with respect to the physical show. Why I'm saying that? Because this is a room very important for the small and for the medium company. This means that you can be artisanal at the beginning, especially, because to be artisanal means to be unique. Then you have to find your growth path. And your growth path at some stage means that you have to organize the company in a different way to make and to maintain the artisanal attitude and even approach under a material point of view, to make that feasible and synergic with the different kind of organization in the company. And that way, you can well combine the growth with the attention to the product and the service, because which is the real competitive advantage of a small company is the focus on your history, in the focus on your product, is the focus in transferring what you are doing in an easy way. Then you are growing, and when you are growing, you have to change, as I told you before, organization and somehow even the market approach. But this doesn't mean that the company cannot grow. For sure, that sometimes they have to make acquisition, because you cannot remain as you are, but you can make acquisition, in synergic products, because in luxury, you can have a very wide assortment of products. You can work in apparel, fashion, and jewelry, in food and beverage, in art. You can combine. Today, for instance, to combine a pack kind of promotion of products with some art masterpiece is something very well working. So, you can be not small, but medium for sure. And the pack is for sure a small, medium company in the field. It's a matter to have a long view. If the entrepreneur can have a long view, money can arrive to grow. I'm very optimistic about that. That's for sure. It doesn't mean that you can be so international at the beginning, but you can start to develop your product even outside of the world. I can give you an example. Pack, we are speaking a company of around 18 million of euro of net sales, or 20 million of euros growing. But one of the main market for Pack is Japan. And it's a small company. Japan is one of the most difficult market in which you can operate. But you can be organized, and for sure it means to have the right people, the right organization. Then for sure you cannot be. In order to grow, you need money, you need investments. But even this kind of group were growing for from the beginning, from a small company. I mean, in Prada was very small at the beginning. For sure, we are speaking about many, many years ago, was a different market. But today, you have even more kind of instruments. Think about how much the social in the right way, or the different instruments of communication, the app or whatever, can have you well known in other countries. It's immediate. This was not the case at the time of Prada was built up. So, I mean, there are different kind of instruments to use. You need an open view from the entrepreneur, but small cannot be the target to be in the medium long term future. But it's a good starting. And think about that in the luxury business, there are many startups, and there are very good, excellent example of people starting and well developing their concept and their business.
Thank you, Paolo. I think this is a wonderful way of framing the landscape. So when you're thinking about a career, when our attendees are thinking about a career in this field, it is not necessarily, you know, that's the big brand and that's it. There are a lot of opportunities in companies that are growing, scaling up, finding new markets, and then need to learn to communicate more efficiently and better in a way which is changing. And also from the viewpoint of the communicator, I think there are plenty of interesting challenges, because you know you need to have products that travel, and some of these products are great, are artisanal. Online communication and social media allow you to present the artisanal nature of this product in a very vivid way. So I think it can be a very exciting moment in history to enter this market from a communication viewpoint, don't you think?
Yeah, I completely agree, and I would like to add something. I don't know how many of you were having an experience to go in countries like, for instance, Brazil or whatever. I had an experience to work in Brazil, and I was at the time very impressed from the fact that people in the companies were very keen to be very smart and fast in making calculations, and without even the machine. And why that? Because was a country experiencing a so high inflation rate that you were in a position not to lose any minute to understand how to make your move. It's not the same, but the luxury market, the luxury business is a business in which you have to care to details. And it's not true that it's a very easy make margins, whatever you do. No, I mean, even the luxury market follows the same rules of the other economic business, with in which you have to you need a very streamlined business model. You have to very much studying your cost, because thinks about that. To be luxury, you have to use the best quality of your raw materials, for instance. So they are more expensive with respect to the other. It's true that you are selling your product at higher prices, but this doesn't mean that it's automatic that you have a great margin. You can have, in absolute value sometimes, but not in the percentage value. And this means that you care to detail. This means, that's my experience, if you work, whatever you do in the luxury business, it's a very good gym to have a very good professionality for other sectors. I mean, because there is a lot of care to details, because you have to be careful in your, strategy. And with respect to the commodity business, for instance, I'm not saying that is less or more difficult, but for sure you will be more oriented to look at details, because details are making the result. It's like in the sport. I love sports, and in the sports you have the best champions saying every time, my target is to improve again. And to improve again in the luxury business, the variables are many and are details, because people is spending money. We are people that is spending money. They are spending money and they are expecting a value, an added value. And to make an added value, it doesn't, it's not enough to have the quality of your raw material. You have to add something. In order to add something, you have to be careful to all details. Sometimes luxury business, very successful today, are successful not simply for the product, but for the service given to the client. So luxury is a good gym even in the service business.
Paolo, we are running out of time and we have some questions to answer concerning the degree. But let me ask you a last question, which is, let's imagine that all our wonderful attendees are coming to Milan in a few months to start this new degree. So they're students during the day, but they're going to be touring the city, they're going to go around, they're going to be visiting PEC. What should they look forward? What should they look at when they're visiting PEC? What should they learn from in their PEC visit?
I believe that the best thing is to look at the atmosphere. Because, if you love food, for instance, is straightforward that you look to the counters and you can appreciate and maybe you buy. But what is unique is the atmosphere. In the flagship close to the Duomo, there is somehow an atmosphere that something like when you enter in a different world, in which you can have hands for you, because people is very friendly, but at the same time, they are very caring to the technical thing that maybe you don't know, and they have an easy way to explain. So my advice could be for sure to look at the atmosphere and to remain in the store I'm not saying for an hour, but for sure for more than 1 minute. And if possible, to ask to visit the laboratories and the kitchen, because it is a very unique experience. People in PEC are equipped to give you the flavor of what does it mean to eat in a healthy way, even if we are not speaking about, food. We are speaking about rich food, but in a friendly way, with simple words, and give you the right environment to feel you comfortable to go back. Sometimes people, I read a newspaper of the 30s about PEC, and in that newspaper we have in the archives was written, you have to try to enter PEC. You have not to be shy with respect to PEC, because sometimes, when you go to a luxury kind of store, you can be somehow shy, because, if you are not prepared to spend a lot of money, maybe you can feel not comfortable. This is not the case of PEC. If you enter, you can understand that you can have the best quality, even in an affordable way. You can eat a piece of very good cheese and not spending a lot. you can spend a lot of money, thousands and thousands for a very good wine, or even for caviar or whatever. So everybody can find the joy there, but the atmosphere is something in that store for me very good to attract people.
So, if you allow us, we'll come visit you with students as soon as they're in town.
Sure. We can organize even a case over there, a business case. There was a university coming, and I'm not sure, but maybe was not an Italian university, foreign university, but all the Milan university, and so I hope even ULM can organize, in fact, business cases for the student, so they can live there and make an experience, and at the same time learn something, or simply make a visit to the store and to the laboratories.
Well, let me just say thank you so much, really, and heartfelt. Thank you so much, Paolo, for this wonderful chat. Alessandra, the floor is yours now.
Hello again, everyone. First of all, I also want to thank Professor Mingardi and Dr. Opramolla for sharing their experiences in the field of fashion. And I see here that we have some questions from the participants. Yeah. So I'd say let's start with the first one. So the first question is, I have some data work in the fashion industry, but I don't have any background in fashion. How relevant do you think having a fashion background is to work in the marketing or communication department of fashion brands?
Well, you know, here it depends what you mean by a fashion background. But our course, you know, the aim of our course is to equip people with what is needed in terms of intellectual instrument to be able to navigate the world of fashion. Fashion is about knowing plenty of different things, having an idea of material, having an idea of specific culture, knowing what's behind a product and the sort of identity-making adventure that make a product what it is. And we hope with the sort of courses that we put together and packaged in this degree that we'll be able, you know, to help you navigate exactly this kind of sea. Let me stress again, I mentioned the name of the course before is Fashion, Communication, and Luxury Strategy. The two things are brought together for a reason that Paolo Promolla has beautifully underlined before. So the similarity between these two different realms and markets. In the second year, you have two specific paths. The first year, you have a common path for all the students. The idea is to equip the student of this course with both some theoretical knowledge that allows for flexibility, agility in entering the business world, and, you know, with case history and first-hand experience in this world.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Professor. And here is another question regarding the fashion world, which is, what do you think are the factors that influence fashion trends?
Alberto, rispondo io.
Dai, rispondi tu perché è difficile questa.
Ma fashion trends. Fashion trends. Is always the question, which will be the trends, especially in a world that fastly changing. But at the end, the main trends that we have in fashion are more or less the following. In the past, the trend was, especially for the luxury part of fashion, the increase in spending power. That could be the case again in the emerging markets. When you have increase in spending power, you can have an increase of the trends because the fashion trends are growing. Then there was in the market the globalization. No? And the globalization means that everybody can be informed in a while of everything. So That can go everywhere. During these days, globalization is not so popular like in the past, but this doesn't mean that when you have a product, you cannot sell everywhere. Then there was the period of communication. I mean, as a driver for the trend. So in the sense, trend, you have to having the trend growing through communication. In the past, there was more design, craftsmanship, high quality of the product. Today is more to give the experience. So the fashion trends, I believe there could be different trends in the products, even in how we wear. I mean, we choose our apparel was changing. Now was changing even in the past. But this is not something that you have to care so much. You have to care to give an experience today. And in the future, in the fashion trends, we'll be counting lots a lot the technology. For sure, the technology will have, even in this business, a very important drive. And the other trend is for sure in the ESG. I mean, the ESG sometimes is more a marketing kind of arm for the companies, but step by step is becoming essential. The Caring Group was putting ESG in a real way, because I was participating to some of their workshops as a driver for their trend. So one of the trends will be for sure under marketing or even under a material point of view, to have products that can be sold and in compliance with ESG, very well developed even through technology. Somehow, the business of luxury is becoming, I mean, something multidisciplinary, in the sense that you can be very open, because its experience is something to live. So, I mean, the trend will be in the product and services able to catch this kind of trend with this kind of instruments.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Opramala, for your answer. We now have some questions regarding the Master in Fashion Communication and Luxury Strategy. And the first question is, what are the requirements to enroll?
So are my colleagues online to answer these practical questions and give some specific details to the prospect students? Maybe not.
Okay, no problem with that. In that case...
Okay, no, you need to... We have a website that will tell you everything you need to, all the points you need to check in your checklist to attend. Of course, you need to have finished your undergraduate studies. When it comes to foreign students, particularly, I mean, when it comes to Italian students, there is a test you need to enroll in, and you will look into the list of undergraduate degrees you may have completed in order to enroll into this test, or the sort of extra exams you need to add to your previous path in order to be eligible for the test. But again, for people in Italy, we do have a second and a third test coming in the next few weeks. For foreign students, you need to send us your CV, and you need to send us likewise a motivation letter. We will look into it, and we will schedule an online appointment with you in order to figure out your motivation, what you're expecting, and giving you further information about this degree.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Professor. I would also like to add that after this event, the participants will receive an email with the link to the recording of the session, and also all the important contacts in order to get in touch with you in case they have more questions regarding the enrollment procedure. And now, moving on to the next question, we have another question regarding the master. And the question is, what are the professional opportunities outcomes of the Master in Fashion Communication and Luxury Strategy?
Well, of course, we do enlist, if you visit our website and you navigate a little bit about the information we're offering, we do have a series of jobs that we think the master will be particularly suited in helping you in developing your skills for. Such jobs as brand consultant, brand heritage curator, customer engagement manager, digital media manager, events manager, fashion trend forecaster, thinking about what we were talking before, PR manager, client communication manager. So you will find there a series of jobs that we think you'll be particularly well suited for when you finish this degree. At the very same time, you need to keep in mind something Dr. Opramolla said before, which is the number of startups, the number of new business ventures that are somehow blossoming in this field. As always, a university degree is not a key for a dream. It's a first step in a direction. And what we want to help you in becoming is somebody who's fully conversant in the language of this business sector, also personally and agile and flexible and capable of taking responsibility and aiming at having an executive role in your future career path. But you need to know that this market is in such a great and splendid evolution that the best thing we can do and the best thing we should do is preparing you to swim your own way in this sea.
Thank you so much, Professor. And on that line, we also have another question regarding the career outcomes. And the question is, does IULM have a career department to help students connect with partner companies?
Yes, of course. We do have a wonderful career service office. And part of your second year will always be, a field project, which is an important internship that also counts as part of your university course. So having a professional experience during the master is very, very important. And you will be followed and helped by the university in order to have the most tailor-made opportunity we can offer.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Professor. And lastly, we have one final question, which is, do you offer scholarship for international students? And if so, how do I apply?
Well, once again, this information will be sent, I suppose, in the package you will all received. Of course, there are opportunities. You need to check about how the scholarship will work. It is not necessarily the case that you will get a check before arriving to Italy. It may be that you're getting a scholarship later on when you're already enrolled. But we do have an office that take care of this matter, so you can apply and see what's available and prove that you're eligible to that.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Professor. And that was our last question. So again, before we say goodbye, I would like to thank our panelists for their presentation and for their answers, and also thank everyone for joining us and for your questions. So I would like to remind everyone interested in receiving a certificate of attendance by Docsity that they can request it by clicking on the link that I'm sending right now in the chat. And also remind everyone that in the following days, you will receive an email with the link to the recording of this webinar and all of the relevant contact information to get in touch with IULM University. So thank you again. Thanks to both our speakers and everyone connected with us today. And I hope to see you again in the next webinar organized by Docsity. So bye, everyone.
And we hope to see you in Milan. So
yeah, thanks. Thank
you very much, Paolo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Have a nice day.